Hello everyone, my name is Ross McEwan and I am thrilled to be speaking to you from a very windy Kingdom of Fife here in Scotland. I do a lot of work in the fields of Scots heraldry and Scottish clans in general around the world, and I'm here to answer a few quick questions from the Clan Mackenzie initiative relating to Mackenzie heraldry. Since the chiefship of Mackenzie was restored in the 1970s via a female line, is that why the coat of arms has a deer's head and not a stag's head? Right, so to answer that we have to back up a bit. Scots heraldry has been around for a very long time. It's been legally regulated and protected since the year 1672 and still is to this day. The Lord Lion, who's a person many watching this will have heard of, is a Scottish judge who has a multitude of roles. It's a very wide-ranging position with lots of remits and responsibility. But one of them is to enforce and regulate Scots heraldry. Again, 1672 is when that officially came into in its current form, the form that we still observe and protect and enjoy to this day. But Scots heraldry existed long before that in various forms. So in this case, and Scots heraldry is such a massive topic, and there's books and lectures and videos online that I would encourage anyone watching this who has any interest in heraldry, because it's very important to the existence of Scottish clans, not just historically, but one may argue especially in the 21st century and hopefully long beyond. Look online, it's a huge topic. I won't go into it all here, otherwise we'll be here until next Christmas. But the chiefship of Mackenzie, as many watching this will may be aware, fell into abeyance at the start of the 20th century. You could argue the start of the 19th century, in 1815, when the final Earl of Seaforth died. And scholars argue that may disagree or agree, that the Mackenzies of Allen Grange from 1815 to around 1907, when that line died, that they took on the unofficial mantle, perhaps, as the chiefs of Mackenzie, and then that stayed that way. The chief of Mackenzie remained vacant for over 50 years, 60 years, until 1978, December 1978, when the current chief, his father, called Roderick Grant Francis Mackenzie, who was the previous Earl of Cromarty, of course, and he petitioned the Lion Court for official recognition as chief of the name and arms of Mackenzie. Now, the title of a chief is important. Chief of the name, which is in this case is Mackenzie, and arms. The coat of arms being granted or being recognised as the rightful holder of the chiefly coat of arms, and that in this case dealt with succession and proving that the current chief's father, late father, was the senior living descendant of the previous chiefs of Mackenzie, or the first chiefs of Mackenzie in his case. Once that investigation is proven, remember this is a legal case, so there was lawyers involved on both sides, lots of respondents, fascinating topic for another day. Once that investigation was proven that the current chief's father was indeed the senior living descendant of the chiefs of Mackenzie for aught yet seen, which is a wonderful Scottish legal phrase, which essentially means the information that is available at this time makes the strong case that such and such has been proven. So hence why the chiefship of Mackenzie came back alive in around 1980 and remains very much alive and kicking to this day. So that coat of arms that the previous Earl of Cromarty was granted is that very familiar blue shield with a gold stag's head, deer's head, cabost, which is a heraldic term which essentially means cooped behind the ears, so there's nothing of the deer's neck visible. So a deer's head cabost, or is the heraldic term for gold. So an extremely simple coat of arms, and you tend to find the simpler they are, the older they are. And in the blazoning, which is the written description of what the coat of arms is and what it should look like, and that's there for accuracy purposes. Because if I tried to draw a coat of arms with an otter on it, and I can tell you right now, my otters are not very good, you might see my drawing may be so bad that you would not see that as an otter. You would see it as some other animal, or have no clue at all what on earth I was trying to illustrate. So the written description of what a coat of arms should look like is very important and very useful, because it shows the artist or the reader or the researcher can read the instructions, so to speak, of what this coat of arms is and therefore who it is. And in the grant of the chief of Mackenzie's arms, the current incarnation, which is the Earls of Cromarty, as of did a little bit of research beforehand. So it was matriculated on the 12th of June 1980. So that's when the coat of arms was officially granted or re-granted to the Earls of Cromarty, who remain the chiefs to this day. The description of the coat of arms itself describes it as a deer's head. Now, a deer could mean, well, typically in nowadays parlance, a deer would refer to a female of the species, which of course anyone who's seen the Mackenzie coat of arms knows that it's a stag's head, as a male of the species depicted because of the antlers. I do not believe, from what I've read, and again, heraldry, there's research happening all the time. So on today's date, the 29th of December 2024, I do not believe that the word deer has been used because the family link was traced through the female line, and the Earls of Cromarty prove their descent from the Mackenzies of Kintail via female lines. So that's no secret, but I do not believe, for reasons that I'm going to, having had a quick peek at the rest of the questions, I do not believe that deer's head is mentioned because of the female line. Incidentally, in the same grant, whilst the shield is described as a deer's head, the badge for the chief is described in the exact same grant later on the next page, is described as a stag's head, and the badge is also used for the chief's standard. So not the pencil, which is the sharp-edged triangular flag that you will see flown if the chief is present, like the annual commemoration of the Battle of Culloden each year. Lord Cromarty, when he attends, he has a banner bearer who carries the pencil, which is again a sharp-pointed flag that flies with the chief's crest on it usually. This is the standard is much larger, much longer. It looks a bit like a pennon, so not sharp-edged triangle. It's very bonny design, and I'm sure the Clan Mackenzie initiative can if they have the image, they can show it now. It's described as a stag's head. So in the same grant of arms, the same document, you have a deer's head mentioned for the shield, and you have the exact same image, so to speak, but described as a stag's head in the badge and therefore in the standard. So I believe the word deer has been used just out of habit or precedent, and I'm going to explain a little bit more later in this video why. But in a direct response to a question, see, typical legal guy, why use two words when you can use 2,000? I do not believe that there's any evidence that I've seen so far that credits or puts the word deer being used as a direct result of the female lines that are present, or that were present and were investigated as part of the petition to bring the chiefship of Mackenzie back alive from 1978 to 1980. So short answer is